Alright, we're back here. I decided to skip round 4. It was super long. I was the feature match on stream against A rank 13. At that point I was 2-1. I just needed to not go 0-3 in Expedition. We ran to this TJS deck that Barbarian Camp brought. Our TJS deck in testing did not have Know Thy Enemy. That was a big oversight. The card is very good. The TJS deck is probably the best deck in Expedition if the mirror wasn't so painful. The whole matchup is pretty boring. It just comes down to have Sling, have Transpose, and then draw fatties. If you have only Sling or Transpose and not both, you lose, and you have until 10 or 12 power to do it before you die to Know Thy Enemy or Massive Greatsword. Massive Greatsword is a really smart addition too, just makes Siegebreaker super awkward. So I'm going to skip that one because I don't really want to go over a whole thing the commentators handled very well. Like, the game 3 was pretty brutal where I slammed Waystone Sling instead of Geminon on turn 5. They had the From Beyond into Display Vision to kill it, and my next 2 draws were Dazzle and Transpose, and I didn't draw another Sling and I died. Pretty brutal. So that brings us here. So at this point I'm 2-2. I just need to win one of the last 2. And I'm against Twanbon. And Twanbon is on Mono Shadow Aggro, which I think is a very good matchup for me. Basically every deck that wasn't TJS or Mono Fire I think was very good. I don't think Mono Fire was horrible. Like, there is Sear and Permafrost and Huntress for early interaction, and you just need like something to do on 2 and 3 so that you don't fall too far behind before you start slamming huge guys. But I don't think it's a great matchup, whereas I think these non-TJS, non-Mono Fire decks are great matchups. They just can't interact with Sling. They're not terribly fast to kill you before you get it down, and then Sling just brutalizes them. However, doesn't always go as we want it to. Where's playback speed? There we go. Right. Let's get it going. Alright, so they lead on Acantha. I do the only thing I can do and play this Grenarender to try and block it. Doesn't work out, but that's okay. I just need to drop Primal and it'll be fine. There it is. Kind of awkward that it's depleted, but I'll make do. Acantha kind of snowballing on me though. So I don't think I have time to get down Sling of the Chi. Especially when, yeah, that's going to happen. I think I should have just played Huntress and murdered well, it would have been the Damara, but attacked the Acantha. And that way I would have been guaranteed to be able to train. My thinking at the time was that I just had to get down the Sling and get on the train for the 2-for-1 and get it started. But alas, I played the Sling first, perhaps a little too optimistically, and got absolutely murdered. This is 11 damage right there. I'm counting it up, but counting it up doesn't change anything, and I'm dead. So yeah, real quick one. But now we get to be on the play. Let's skip ahead a little bit. There we go. Would you look at that 4-power Sling? I don't even need 1 and 2 power plays against Mono Shadow. I don't think when I'm on the play, like, they don't have any reach. And then they just mull to 6, and looks like we're each getting a game for free here. I play the Cylix there, giving up the value, but that's fine. I want to get my extra 1-1 when it's actually a relevant blocker. I'll lead on Torgov because it doesn't trigger Sling. Save the Siege Trains for when it's actually getting me something. Like, it can die, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. Hey, Waystone to help me hit my 5th power. So I could grab Tota Colony and draw a card here. Got a nice Grenarender to put away. I do want to commit to the board. Just playing Wisdom here is too weak, and I want to save Siege Train to be a 2-for-1 since they can't really beat the 2-for-1 train. That's the literal 2-for-1 train of Siege Trains. Oh, and man, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen this. So I get Galai here instead, because it also draws a card, even if they have Annihilate. Which I suspect they did after they passed on 4 power and the whole deck cost 4 less, except for Carvet and Akaria. This might have been the one that had Akaria in the market even. It's like their whole deck is cheap, so like they obviously have Annihilate, so you should play it on Annihilate by playing the one that draws you a card, even if your guy dies right away. At this point, I just want them to play units so I can start playing these Siege Trains. Like, otherwise my play is going to be pretty weak, like Oni Quartermaster, Wisdom of the Elders or something. Menace to pop my face Aegis. They don't actually have Burglarize, so I don't need to worry about that. So now I get to start the train, the Pain Train. And you pick Blade, because I'm going to always have another unit in play. They don't have sweepers, and Blade is the most stats. Acantha, that's cute. That dies to Sear. So Sear here means I'm not going to play the Siege Train, but that means I can spend the turn playing Wisdom and Torgov. If I draw a Torgov, I can just play that instead. At any cost to neuter it. That train is still ticking up. It's still making Ember Fury Blades. Sleepless Night, yeah, they were just super flooded. Like, Sleepless Night is cute, but you're not gonna overcome a Sling in value. I mean, that's just not a fight you're gonna win. So yeah, bash for some damage, loot, play some more doofuses. Here, Huntress gives me a 6 health unit to draw a card off Sling, even. I mean, we're just rolling in it here. I have to play the Quartermaster for presenting lethal while holding up Dazzle. It's not lethal through Icaria, notably, but if they have an Icaria, I'm not going to lose. I'm just too far ahead at this point for anything to matter. Sling leads to a lot of boring games. Like, you either win by so much or lose by so much that the finer details don't really matter outside of setting up and protecting your Sling and drawing Slings. Very skill intensive. I don't think the card is overpowered, but I would like to see it change just because it is so rote and boring. So here I opted not to Dazzle end of turn because I didn't have lethal through Annihilate. But if I use the Dazzle as a counterspell, I do. So there we go. And I drew the Permafrost, but if I had played Siege Train, same thing. Like, I just had guaranteed lethal if I didn't use Dazzle end of turn. Alright, now we get to game 3. So this hand has turn 2 and turn 4, but it doesn't have a Sling, and I can go to 7. So I do. This hand's great. Look, it's got 2, 3, 4. That 3 is a Sling. Looks great. Exactly what you want with day 2 on the line. Being in the draw, not ideal, but this is the sort of hand that can keep pace. Torn Bloodseeker is sort of scary. Torgov is a good blocker. Until right here, when inexplicably I play the wrong power on turn 2, and I can't play my Huntress. And so, like, I was sort of thinking, like, oh, well, like, Huntress doesn't kill anything, but, like, I should still play it because it blocks a Damar that comes down, or whatever comes down the next turn, or chumps at some future point, and I'm literally never gonna get to play it. They turn mousing over, like, what, I didn't play this Huntress, what's going on? Because, like, I'm literally never gonna get another chance to play it. Like, I have a Sling, and I have all these 4 drops. Like, I had to play the Huntress, and I inexplicably didn't, and then they played 3 units, and then I died. So here I'm like, oh no, I better play Huntress and kill this Acantha before everything goes wrong. And instead of, like, just playing Sling and taking 9 like I had to, and then playing Siege Train to try and catch up. Like, because then if I draw another fatty, then, like, I got multiple effectively double spell turns. Like, if you play a fatty with a Sling out, you're getting a removal spell and a unit, like, help you stabilize. But here I'm just never going to double spell. I'm just going to, like, play a fatty and have it die to Annihilate, and play a fatty and die. So it was just... Not playing that Huntress cost me 9 health from blocking this Damara for 3 turns. And not having 9 more health made me lose the game. Simple as that. So I just made it super hard on myself for no reason, and went down on the wire and had to go to round 6 in day 1. So here we can see if they have it. And it turns out that they do. It being a way to remove the Siege Train, of course. that'll be that. Probably the most bonehead play that I made the whole weekend. Like, I think I played really well in the top 8, and I played really well in the top 16 except for one dumb mistake, and then that really dumb mistake there. But it happens, you know, everybody makes mistakes. It's how you recover from them.